If you've ever stood in front of a menu for 10 minutes, reread the same three options, imagined how each one might taste, and still felt strangely anxious about picking the wrong one, this might feel familiar. Or maybe it's replying to a simple text. You type something, delete it, rephrase it, add an emoji, remove the emoji, read it again, send it, then immediately reread it to make sure it didn't sound off. From the outside, it looks small, harmless, just being careful. But simple decisions don't usually create that much internal noise. And when they do, it says something deeper about how your mind learned to operate. People who overthink simple decisions often believe they're just indecisive, or anxious, or bad at choosing. But overthinking is rarely about the decision itself. It's about what the decision represents. A small choice can feel loaded, not because it matters that much, but because somewhere along the way, choices became tied to consequences that felt bigger than they should have. Maybe growing up, mistakes were magnified. A wrong answer wasn't just wrong, it was embarrassing. A small misstep brought criticism, or tension, or disappointment. When that happens repeatedly, the brain adapts. It starts scanning for risk, even in tiny moments. So when you're picking what to wear, what to say, what to order, what to post, your nervous system isn't just choosing, it's calculating. It's forecasting outcomes. It's trying to avoid regret before regret even has a chance to exist. That's not weakness, it's protection. You might notice this pattern in subtle ways. You research extensively before buying something inexpensive. You ask other people what they think, even when you already have a preference. You replay past decisions in your head, analyzing what you should have done instead. You feel a strange pressure to make the best choice, not just a good one. Underneath that is often a quiet belief. If I choose wrong, something will go wrong. And for some people, that belief formed early. Maybe love or approval felt conditional. Maybe being right meant staying safe. Maybe unpredictability in your environment made control feel like survival. So your mind learned to overthink as a way to create certainty, because certainty feels calming. But here's where it gets interesting. Overthinking simple decisions isn't really about confidence, it's about control. When life feels uncertain, even small decisions become opportunities to regain a sense of stability. If I can just analyze this enough, I won't feel caught off guard. If I can just predict the outcome, I won't feel regret. But the deeper layer isn't about the decision at all. It's about intolerance for emotional discomfort, regret, embarrassment, disapproval, conflict. For someone who overthinks, those feelings don't register as mild inconveniences. They feel heavier, louder, more threatening. So the mind works overtime trying to prevent them. You might even notice that once a decision is made, you don't always feel relief. Sometimes you feel a new wave of doubt. Did I choose too fast? Should I have picked the other option? What if this backfires? That's because the pattern isn't about making the right choice. It's about trying to eliminate uncertainty completely. And certainty is something no decision can fully provide. There's also an identity layer to this. Over time, you might start seeing yourself as the careful one, the thoughtful one, the one who considers everything. And in many ways, that's true. Overthinkers are often perceptive, detail-oriented, emotionally aware. You notice subtleties others miss. You consider consequences others ignore. But when that awareness is driven by fear rather than curiosity, it becomes exhausting. Simple moments feel heavy. A casual plan feels like a commitment you must evaluate from every angle. A minor purchase feels like a long-term investment decision. And sometimes what looks like indecision is actually a deep desire not to disappoint yourself or anyone else. Because if your identity formed around being responsible, mature, or getting it right, then choosing wrong doesn't just feel inconvenient, it feels like failing who you're supposed to be. There's another layer people don't always talk about. Some overthinkers grew up in environments where their preferences weren't really centered. Maybe you were told what to like, what to want, what to prioritize. So now when someone asks, "What do you want?" your mind stalls. Not because you don't have preferences, but because you learn to scan outward before looking inward. You think about what makes sense, what's practical, what others expect, what causes the least friction. And by the time you circle back to yourself, the decision feels complicated. So you analyze longer, and longer, and longer. It doesn't look dramatic from the outside, it just looks like hesitation, but internally, it's a full negotiation. Maybe you've called yourself indecisive for years. Maybe you've wondered why something so small can feel so heavy. But it was never about the menu or the text message or the tiny choice in front of you. It was about safety, control, learning at some point in your life that being careful meant being protected. And once you see that, the pattern feels different. Not broken, not irrational, just understood. If something in this video felt uncomfortably accurate, that's not coincidence. It means you're starting to recognize your own patterns. And awareness like that is quiet, but powerful. There's always more beneath the surface. I'll see you in the next one.